I will assume I am live now. Am I live now? Please tell me I am. Yes, live. Cool. Okay, so I can see the comments on the top chat, but I'm going to open up the live stream over here on the phone because I prefer to actually be able to see it well. Hello, Ace. Hello, Divina. Beyond Borders. Hello. Hola a todos. Espero que estés teniendo un día maravilloso. Yes. Well, I can't say it's marvelous. I had work in the morning, but it hasn't been a terrible day yet. And when the air conditioner is on, at least the heat doesn't make it unbearable. So positives. So hello. Hi. Buenas. As is usual. Is the audio okay? Is it clear? Is it understandable? Does it need to be louder? Is it too loud? I always had to do some configuration on that end, and I was checking it out, and it felt like it was okay, but can't be too sure. Can never play it too safe there. Why are these over here? Good. All right. Excellent. Excelente. So before I begin, I do have to, let's see here, suggestion. Hold up. It's suggesting something over here. I don't know why. Ooh. Hello, Papicho. Hola. I'll keep this little mini stream open. Is everything okay? The stream's current bitrate is higher than the recommended. Okay, let me see if I can modify that. So let's bring it down to 5,000. I still don't get this whole bitrate thing, and sometimes I feel like it just makes the stream so weird. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, so I do want to start off by saying, of course, because there's always this conflict with, I don't know who, but one person who says that the stream or the video is too long. Remember, the live streams, they are supposed to be long. This live stream has a minimum duration of around an hour, and it might last at maximum 2 to 3 hours. I can't confirm. I honestly, since we started early today at 3, I don't mind going up until maximum 6, as long as the microphones are good, and as long as everyone wants to stay on stream, of course, as well. And but I think 5 would be the most reasonable thing, so about 2 hours. And yeah, that's about all I'll say on that topic. So it will be long. So if you're not into long videos, you might want to check out something else on the channel. Not a problem. This might not be your cup of tea. Trying to sound like Tiptoe. All right, so let's see. I was wondering if you have an update on the state of emergency. Is military still, I combined military and still, is military still active, and is the state in high alert with the red light curfew? So to give you the most immediate response based on my own situation, honestly, it's the state of emergency, as you know, done and over with. I've been trying to look for people's thoughts, and really the only thoughts that I see from people are the same thoughts we've had ever since it was even extended. Basically, I guess the thought process, at least from the perspective of the people, is that, well, people, wanted to get back to work until late in order to be able to, work normally. There's the idea, like I think I mentioned on the last stream, that really nothing has changed in terms of there's still crime if you know where to look for it. Like you'll see the typical comments online of someone saying, "Oh no, there's still crime, even though there was a state of emergency, there was a curfews. So does that mean that the state of emergency, the curfews, don't do anything?" I mean, I don't agree with that. I feel like things have happened and there are people who just aren't happy with what has happened. And I'm not trying to put myself in the position of saying that I'm happy with the bare minimum. I do wish everything was resolved, but realize that the president, Noboa, has only been in government not even his full term, not even the term that like a president would normally be in power, like in the state, in Ecuador. So it's like if he does something, it's a lot more than the things that he's been doing have been a lot more than what I would have expected it for him to do. Like at one point I was super skeptical that the next president who came in would come in promising the world and doing nothing. Like just like, oh, here's a new street. But a lot of more things have been done than I expected initially. So I'm actually quite pleased with that. Um, is there military presence out on the streets? To be honest, I haven't seen it. And but that might just be because I've been stuck at work this this whole week. But I wasn't looking like before this week, which has been when I started my new job, which by the way, this week was my first week at the new job. We're still in light mode because we don't have students and it's just a whole bunch of teacher planning. But even that has been a lot, but that's not the point. We'll talk about that later. Um, the military presence, like I haven't really seen it. Like even before that, this week, I think the last time we had the live stream was during the time of the situation with the Mexican embassy, which I think was sometime last week. And even then, I hadn't like frequently been seeing the military out on the streets. I do remember one day I went to the mall, to the El Paseo shopping, that's what it's called, and I saw the military. They literally went into the food court. They were like hanging around the bathroom area. I'm guessing one of them went to the bathroom and then they were just hanging around, looking at the food court, making sure everything was good, and then they left. I even took a picture and uploaded it on Instagram in my stories, like, oh, the military's here. There's also there was rugby on the screen, but that was it. That was the last time I can officially say that I saw the police, the military, out on the streets. Other than that, like I haven't seen them, but and I'll see if I can pull it up. I did see on Instagram. I forgot to pull that up. I should have pulled that up. Because I did see on Instagram something that Noboa said, and I'll see if I can pull it up. Reload page. It won't let me open up Instagram on my computer. Why? Page couldn't open. Is it because on the desktop, computer, laptop, not good Instagram? I don't know. But yeah, let's see here. Kathy and the dogs. Hi, Ace. Beautiful Florida day here. Good to know, Kathy. I hope it stays that way, really. You know how Florida is. One moment you got nice sun, beautiful day. The next moment it becomes rainy or weather becomes really awkward. Let's see here. Hi, happy to catch you again by chance this week. Kenneth, how's it going? Good to see you here. Yeah, we actually were able to do the live stream and I actually was able to schedule it. I was concerned that it was going to schedule this other live stream that's always there by default, but it didn't. So I'm actually very happy about that. Kathy and the dogs, do you have a curfew in Puerto Viejo? Actually, that was something I was gonna mention when I was answering what Beyond Borders had asked about the military active and the red light curfew. My brother the other day came home at I think 5 in the morning. I'm not sure at what time he came back. He just said that he was like out all night. So yeah, curfew is done. I'm guessing people are again celebrating being able to go out until late. That's the typical party scene here, by the way. People will go out for something at maybe 1 or 12, 12 going into 1 a.m. Dawn time pretty much. And they might not come home until like almost next day, which technically 1 o'clock is already next day. But like when you go past like 3 o'clock, that's when it's officially starting to get late and not normal. People will come back home at around like 2 or 3 and consider that to be still normal time for la joda, which is the parties and stuff. So yeah, so curfew's done. Curfew, and if it is around, then man. Can your family's restaurant stay open late now? In theory, yes. Just I do have this concern, and this is, I guess I'll express this, even though I wanted to kind of avoid expressing it, not because I don't want to share it, just because I feel like I'm always, it feels like negativity, but it's just not. It's just me being realistic. So my dad's been kind of like, tired, and it's been more noticeable. In fact, I invited him to join me on stream today, and when I told him, hey, you want to be on stream today? He was like this, like literally, he was like listening. He said, what's up? And I was like, do you want to be on stream today? He was like, he's like, I don't know. I'll tell you if I'm not too tired, if I don't fall asleep. And he's probably sleeping right now because during the afternoon. So just to give you an idea of my dad's schedule, even though I've mentioned it before, in the morning, he wakes up 6 or 7 in the morning to go buy the stuff he needs from the marketplace, to go get the things that he needs for the business and for the house. Then he'll come back home around 7 to eat some breakfast with my mom. Then afterwards they'll eat, and then after eating, he'll have to go to like he'll start doing the work that he has to do on the food. Then he'll go to Supermaxi in order to buy some more things that he needs, and then he'll come back home, continue working on the product for the business. Then afterwards, um, depending on the day, he might need to keep working on things. And if he's free, he'll like rest a little while until lunchtime. Then after lunch, he'll, rest until he has to work until like, at around 5:30ish. And then he'll work through the night. So I've just like, seen him like he's been a little bit more tired. So it's like, I don't know if with this whole time has been well, I know it has been stressing him out because the debts, the lack of customers, like everything's been taking a toll on what I've said before various times on stream, the average Ecuadorian citizen. Because when you don't, when the municipalities aren't, like we've talked about this, I don't know if on stream, but with my family and with friends, when the municipalities aren't paid, people don't go out to eat, and the people who mainly go out to eat are the people from the municipalities and their families. And it's like, since they weren't being paid, not as much business as before. And of course, since my dad couldn't stay open until late, there was also the problem where he would, get people who would like be leaving the club or something, but like he hasn't been doing that. So people have probably been looking for alternatives. So it's like, it's all just kind of influenced the situation here in terms of that. So yeah, I think he can stay open until late. I just don't know if there's the same drive. Like there is the drive, of course, because we can't just like crash economically. I realize that, but with me working now, I feel like I can actually working an extra job now. I feel like I can actually offer a little bit more support than before. So it's like to help stabilize things a little bit more, and so that he doesn't have to like stay out until those hours and possibly improve the situation. So yeah, that's, I guess, a little bit of a recap on that situation. But going back to the state of emergency, the way I see it right now, like the end result, and it's the same reason why I haven't really felt motivated to make a video, aside from the fact that I don't have time. It's the fact that I don't feel like I feel like it ended, but I also feel like it almost never happened. Like it ended so, I guess you could say, without anything extreme happening, that talking about it would have just been like me either extending a video for no reason, which would have been terrible, or me just saying, hey, so state of emergency is over. This is what you need to know. Really, right now, there's going to be a decreased presence of military on the street, although in theory, not really, because that's something I wanted to show you guys that I pulled up, because there's going to be this vote, and there's been a whole bunch of, I guess you could say, propaganda in favor of the vote going for yes. And I'll explain this in a second, because it might be confusing because you're like, it's not election time, but what are you talking about, Ace? Vote? Yeah, there's going to be a vote, kind of like a mini election, but for some things. And right now, that's really what everyone's waiting for, to see what's going to happen next, because this is the next step, I guess you could say. So it just feels like it ended in the most peaceful way possible. The most peaceful way possible, because like I've said on posts, like I said in my recent update video, there's still crime. If you look for it, you'll see people, like, in my perspective, like, I don't see any crime right now, like, next to me when I go out. I don't see it happen right now. Once again, I'm not involved in these things, but I haven't seen like anything extreme. But you still hear cases of people being kidnapped. You still hear cases of people being having the hits on them, the assassination attempts. You still see things that are kind of like extreme, but you'll see it from very specific people. So you have to acknowledge that it's happening. It's just not as big as, like, you could say it was happening before, where it was just constantly every week and it was making headline news. Now it feels like it's not making headline news like before, but it's still happening somewhere. So yeah, I do want to show you guys the whole thing about the votes, the consulta popular, the popular consultation. What's the latest on the Mexican embassy? I also have some things about that. So I'm going to switch the screen in a bit. I think we'll start with what we were talking about, of course, the popular consultation, so that we can get some insight on that. So let me open that up right now. I think it's this one right here. Yes, indeed it is. Okay, so this is the popular consultation. I'm going to zoom it in a little bit. And the popular consultation, let me actually open up the other one that explains it better. And it's funny because the translation for the other one that explains it better translates both the popular consultation and referendum as like the same thing. So you'll notice that on screen right now, if you're seeing this here. There is the popular consultation. It says, and what is a referendum? And then under it says, what is a referendum? But the top one is, what is a popular consultation in Spanish, que es la consulta popular. And the bottom one is, what is a referendum? So first, what is a popular consultation? The popular consultation is a resource for citizen participation that allows, through a vote, to consult Ecuadorian citizens on issues that affect the country at a political, economic, or social level. Then we have the referendum, which, on the other hand, is a constitutional process that is called in order to change some specific article or issue in the Constitution, if approved by the citizens. Now, both of these things are very important, but I do want to make a bit of a side note, that to remember that there was also a popular consultation when there was the election. I think that was during the election of the mayors and things like that. There was the whole Yasuni, the mining of the oil, and if we remember, apparently the majority voted for it to happen, and then the government or someone just pretty much knocked that out and made it so that nothing happened. So the vote was kind of like, you could say people took it like it was pointless. So anyways, out of this popular consultation, I think there are 3 points that people are mainly looking at. Let me see here. I think it was 3. Let me see. I know the first one for sure. And then I think I thought it was the second one, but apparently, let me see here. The 8th one, and then the last one. Yeah. So let's look at the first one, which is the one most regarding what we're talking about right now. So the question is, do you agree that the armed forces should be allowed to provide additional support for the functions of the national police to combat organized crime, partially amending the Constitution. So that's the one that most people are looking at right now, and especially if you're someone who's very interested on how the state of emergency might have improved the country and how we could keep that improvement. If people vote for this to happen, yes, that would mean that the military will be taking more action into the lives of, the people, not the lives of the people. The specifically when it comes to things regarding organized crime. I actually took a note of it because in the other website there's like more detailed information, but it's just too much. So just to summarize it, added support from the military and police when it comes to, limited to, drug trafficking, money laundering, arms trafficking, human trafficking, terrorism, illegal mining, extortion and intimidation, and organized crime. Additionally, complementary support may be provided when there is serious internal commotion in the prison system. So if yes is voted on this, basically you would have the support for the military in regards to those things, specifically those things. Because I think a lot of people, their concerns might be towards the idea of the military intervening in people's everyday, like normal lives, like a normal crime, the military just being there. But no, it seems to be more focused on this whole situation regarding the cartels, the organized crime, things that are a little bit more severe, and apparently the police couldn't manage by themselves. Even the prison system, which, as we saw, when there's not enough control and there's corruption involved in it, the criminals are the ones who do what they want in the prison system, while a normal person might go to jail and they'd be in more danger than someone who actually committed a severe crime. So yeah, that's the first popular consultation question, and I think one of the most important ones. But there's two more that are very important. But before that, I want to see the comments. What's the latest on the? Oh yeah, like I said, we're gonna look at that in a bit. Any news on Mayor Garcia? Do you know if it was a cartel hit? Honestly, anything in regards to what were the hits on the mayors? I do remember there was one that apparently that mayor had a lot of support in regard. I don't remember which one it was, by the way, because I've been more focused on the Mexican embassy situation, which is probably the wrong place to be putting my focus on, to be honest, because I think the Mexican embassy situation was more of something that interests people who have a political agenda, and that's what most people agree with on Reddit, by the way. But I know one of the mayors had a heavy interest in improving the situation with water, and I don't remember exactly what that entailed, but I do remember that that person had a lot of influence in that, or wanted to try to fix that or help that. And apparently the theory, once again, it's just a theory, is that because of that, they were targeted and they were assassinated. Especially since there's people, and I don't know if anyone would believe this, but there are people who kind of have this kind of, I don't want to say a monopoly, but they have a sort of business, a control on the distribution of water. So it's not convenient for them to fix certain issues in regards to water. So yeah, that's what I can say on that issue. As for the Mexican embassy, let me make sure I pull up the right thing. I'm going to put the just chatting scene over here. Let me pull that up. Well, there's actually a few things we have to look at. I'm going to start probably with the one that's the oldest, but won't enter into too much detail on that because honestly, I'm actually pretty surprised. So just to show you, if you look at this article, it says the judge granted habeas corpus to Jorge Glass and Daniel Salcedo. But this article is from the 8th of August, 2022. So that means the whole corruption scandal in regards to these people, like, obviously it's a long time before that. And I've said it before, like, this whole situation, like, we're talking about long time. Probably the whole time I've been here in Ecuador. But basically, the situation with Jorge Glass has been something that's been going on. you could say for a long time. And then if we move on to what happened recently, there's a bit of a confusion that I felt, at least, when looking at the sentencing. And basically, in one article, it says that Jorge Glass, and I'm going to translate this article to English so you can see it as well. So the former vice president, Jorge Glass, was denied habeas corpus. His appeal was denied, so he's still in jail. But in the other article that I have over here, Jorge Glass will remain in prison despite being granted habeas corpus. So there's a bit of it confused me a little bit when I was reading up on the situation with Jorge Glass, which is the person who was pulled out of the Mexican embassy, about him being granted habeas corpus and at the same time him not being granted it. But the easiest way for me to look at it is that basically he's still in jail. And I think that's what most people would hope is the most positive result of what happened. And like I mentioned before, the most negative result is the possible repercussions we're going to face afterwards. For example, and I'm going to close these now. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to keep this one open, but I'm going to close the other one. So the next thing that I wanted to look at, let me see if I can find it again. Well, we can look at it in terms of memes, but there's a few things here. There's this one. Yeah, there's two. Okay, so they're one next to each other. So yeah, we can see these immediately. So the first one, if you take a look at this meme, which is pretty funny. So Mexico in these moments, and it says, you're prohibited to enter the ONU, you and your kids and the kids of your kids, for 3 months. Basically a meme indicating that nothing really crazy happened. And if we look at over here, the next one, Mexico is asking for Ecuador to be expelled from the ONU, until it asks for forgiveness or it apologizes for what it did. Ecuador apologizes for what they did. Ecuador apologizes. So yeah, so far the Mexican embassy situation, you can summarize it in this way. So first of all, like I said, Jorge Glass in jail, which is, I guess, what we wanted. So what we wanted was actually happened. The second thing is we still haven't had a major incident with Mexico. So like Mexico's mad, of course, the president of Mexico, and I'm guessing people who support not invading embassies are mad about what happened. And now Mexico wants Ecuador to say sorry for what they did. So those are the three main things that you can say have been the effects of the invasion of the Mexican embassy. You could say that so far, we're not really suffering the worst consequence, but in some place that I read, I don't remember if it was in this post or in the previous one, there's people who are saying that the results of what happened, the possible dialogue and everything, could take years, honestly, for us to really see any kind of effect. So for now, it's like there's really no concrete action that's being taken towards the people or Ecuador, and we have to wait to see what the results are, at least for the moment. So yeah, that is the update that I can give you in regards to the Mexican embassy in its most summarized form, of course. We could go into detail and read what people are saying, because there are people who have a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, for this post to have 73 upvotes, it's a big conversation going on right there. But yeah, and this was the other post that I saw on Reddit, which is someone asking for information about the upcoming election, which is the popular consultation that I mentioned that's going to happen next week. And really, it's pretty much just what I said. There's thoughts from people. It is a popular consultation referendum, the first to know whether the people agree or not. with certain elements proposed by the current government. The second is for the partial modification of the Constitution, which is basically what I explained in the popular consultation over here. So I don't know if until up to that point, anyone has any questions, any thoughts on the whole situation, but really, at least in terms of, like I said, the crisis summarized, I feel like we're okay for now. We're in kind of the eye of the storm, chill situation until someone decides to go crazy. Either the president does something that's going to be really big, or the cartels decide to take action for all the time that they've been kind of like held back. The Mexican embassy situation, well, I guess you could say the popular vote is the president's action. The Mexican embassy situation pretty much is just at a standstill until we get, I guess, we get a response from the ONU, see what the ONU wants to take as its course of action. Someone, I think I was mentioning this earlier, someone did say that I'm guessing what the ONU is going to want from the people, what they're going to want for Ecuador and Mexico to do is just to basically enter into peace talks. Like, hey, we don't want to make this a bigger deal than it needs to be, so just talk it out amongst yourselves and fix the issue. Will they do that? I have no idea. I hope they do that, but I can't guarantee that they will. Crazy things already happened, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can say in regards to that. I do want to look at the other points that I said were really important over here, which was point number 8 and also point number 11. So number 8, well, I do want to, if you have any questions, please leave them for me in the chat so that way I know, so we can talk about it. But point number 8, do you agree to allow the extradition of Ecuadorians subject to the conditions, requirements, restrictions, and impediments established in the Constitution, international instruments, and the law, amending the Constitution and reforming the laws as set out in Annex 1? So I was reading through Annex 1, and really, since I didn't get a chance to read the original Annex 1, like before it was like the possible reformation, I really don't know what the big changes are. But someone explained to me that if this changes, or if one of these things changes, there's the possibility of sending people out, or I don't know if there's the amending of sending people out. Basically, what we don't want is to be restricted from being able to ask someone to get sent out of the country in order to face trial somewhere else. Because what we want, for example, if I committed a crime right now, and it's a heinous crime, something crazy. I did not, by the way. This is just an example, just a hypothetical. If I committed a crime and it was so heinous that, like, here we don't have the right means to judge me by it, you'd want to send me to a country where I'd get more of a harsher sentence, and I wouldn't have any connections with, like, police or the judges or some kind of entity that would try to protect me because of what I did. So basically what we want is to make sure that we can do that. We can send people out because they have the possibility to get a harsher punishment. Is it specifically this amendment, this consultation? I don't remember, because I know we were talking, I was talking about this with someone about the possibility of that happening, but I don't know if it's in regards to this specific consultation question. All I know is that there's the possibility of reforming it, and if it's reformed where the people have to stay in the country, people are pretty happy, because I've talked about it before, jail is like second home, and I mean, I don't think that's right. Oh, a comment. Oh, thank you for the donation. Rudy, hello. Thank you for your comment. Thanks for all your videos and your informative live streams. A bit of a tangent. What are your thoughts on expats moving to Ecuador with the embassy situation and the tax changes? I do feel like, and I don't want to sound like, there's a way for me to say this that's going to sound kind of like it's not going to sound good to the person who is in this situation. but it makes sense for people here. Like for me, and I use myself as an example because I think it's an appropriate example. I'm working 3 jobs now, and I once again understand what the situation is like because once again working 3 jobs, in order to maintain stability, the tax increase affects me a lot. It affects me, like it's not gonna immediately, like right now, like, oh, I want to go buy an ice cream and the ice cream costs $1, now it costs $1.10. Let's just say it's not like, wow, I'm immediately affected by those 10 cents, but it's in the global amount that I'm spending. Because if I were to buy an ice cream every day, in 7 days, those 10 cents turned into 70 cents. In 4 weeks, 7 times 4, that's 28. So that's $2.80. So in a month, I'm spending $2.80 more on ice cream. It's an unrealistic example because I'm not going to buy ice cream every day, but it's just to give you an idea. It's not the immediate effect of what you're spending, like that one expense. It's the combined expense over time that you feel, because your budget stays the same. Like it's not like I'm earning more now, and now I am because I have another job. So it's not like I'm earning more money. So I'm just paying more while my salary is still like basic. So what does this have to do with your question? For someone who comes from out of the country with a salary or a pension that is much higher than what the Ecuadorian minimum wage is, you have much less to worry about. And I'm not saying this in a mean way or to say that, oh no, you have money, you don't have to worry about that. No, I'm saying it in the sense that I think it's not as big of a concern for someone coming into the country. The biggest concern on that end is basically if your idea to budget was like a little bit cheaper before, it just got a little bit more expensive. But then you have to compare it again to your current situation in the States, if you're living in the States, or if you're living in Canada, or if you're living in Europe. If things are overly expensive over there, just throwing numbers out there. If in the States I'm paying for rent $1,000, if I'm buying food every month and it's also costing me like $1,000, if my grocery shopping is like $1,000, that's $3,000 right there, just in those things, of course. And this is just like I said, I'm throwing numbers out there. I know that's not the reality. There's just numbers. So $3,000. If I come to Ecuador, my rent can immediately go down to 200. And if you want to be super comfortable, because 200 is what I'm living in right now, and I think it's pretty comfortable. And this my place might be a little bit of a better situation than other people's, but let's just assume that this is $200, what I've got right here. So you double that and you get something even better, and you're still paying $600 less than you were paying in the States or in Canada or in another place for rent, for a place that you're staying at. Then you consider food. Food is immensely cheap. If you are paying $1,000 in the States, I don't think you're going to pay over $500 in food a month over here. And even if you did pay $500, that's half. And if you paid $600, you're still much better off than in the States or in another place. And then once again, the final expense, which was grocery shopping. If you were spending $1,000 a month on groceries, over here, you might spend half of that again. So no matter what, you're still saving. So what I'm trying to say is, if your pension, your salary, whatever you're coming with is really, really good, the concern over the EVA increase isn't a big deal. In terms of the embassy situation, it really depends on what kind of, I guess you could say, connection you want to have with Mexico in the long term. Because if for some reason this situation goes out of control and you decide to live in Ecuador and you're like, I want to become an Ecuadorian citizen, you become an Ecuadorian citizen. And for some reason, Mexico says Ecuadorian citizens can't come into Mexico anymore, then you just kind of doomed yourself from being able to go to Mexico, because now you're an Ecuadorian citizen and Mexico wants nothing to do with you. If it ever got to that extreme, at this point, the conflict with the Mexican embassy is not going to affect you, at least from what I've been able to see. Let's see here. So I don't know if that answers your question. If you'd like to ask something else, please let me know. But I hope that helped. Gloria Reina, hello, Gloria. To Rudy, it depends on if you are a Mexican expat as opposed to a U.S. or Canadian immigrant. True, that's also another situation. But even if you were a Mexican expat, I think if you come now, remember, our conflict is with Mexico and not really the Mexican people. So I don't think that you'd have a conflict. And even if we look at Reddit, because there have been people who have made comments before, and I don't know if I'd be able to find them right now. And here this person made the comment, but it's like, I don't think it was the best one because like it even got a downvote, so it doesn't even have one upvote. But look, the first comment, the normal people already forgot about the topic. That's why I'm saying it's like people don't like this whole Mexican embassy conflict is not something that most people are interested in. It's more of a political thing at this point. So it's like people have already forgotten about it, or they're not really giving as much emphasis to it. The first 3 days were really like the first 2 or 3 days were really where it was at. I still have some memes saved that I might just post on YouTube just for fun. But really it's like it's over. So yeah, in regards to that question, I really feel like you're good, you know? Uh Triple T, hey, how's it going? I appreciate the super. Thanks for the dono. Helps out a lot. And glad to see you. Tell me how you are? Like, say something. You know, I don't. I enjoy. I can't say enjoy. I appreciate the donation, but I also enjoy the communication. So if you have anything to say, even if it's just hi, please let me know how you are. Kenneth, I have ChatGPT Premium. Ooh, that's really cool. I don't have ChatGPT Premium. I have just ChatGPT normal subscription, and I had it billed to my Banco Guayaquil card. I realized they were taxing me an extra $2 for EVA every month. Crazy. Some subscription service law. Subscription services were part of the things that were going to be increased in the EVA. They always had EVA, no matter what. I know subscription services paid EVA, but now it's increased by a little bit. And maybe the increase reached the $2 mark. Before, maybe it was like $1.90 or 80. I'm not sure. And now since it went up, maybe it hit the $2, so it's more noticeable, you know? To me, $2 is 2 bags of this. Like this is technically 2 bags, but just to show you, a bag of roscas and another bag of roscas. This was $1. Both of these combined. It's not $1 each, by the way. So imagine with those $2, I'd have 4 of these. I love these things. So yeah. So subscription services are an evil thing. I actually saw a video by Mr. Who's the Boss today, this morning before I went to work. And he was talking about the evils behind subscription services. And I think it's pretty crazy. I still don't like how everything is becoming like an all digital like future. I mainly hear that a lot when it comes to gaming, but there's also been a lot of conversation about how everything is just becoming digital and you're not really the owner of anything. Like before, you used to rent movies and physically rent them and like have them, or you could buy them. Now there are places that are removing their sections where they had movies for sale because most people aren't who right now, like in the grand majority, is going out and buying a physical movie. I'm actually going to make this a poll question. I don't know why I haven't used polls in such a long time. Let me see if I can, because it's acting weird. Let me see. Avada Kedavra. Okay, start. Oh, come on. Okay, start a poll. Kenneth, I appreciate that. Thanks for the donation. It helps out a lot. I think sometimes there's the thought that uh, every little bit doesn't help, but believe me, everything helps. Um, right there, I've got 4 roscas. But no, I want to save that towards another thing that we have over here right now. Okay, dang it, I keep trying to make this poll. I'll make the poll as soon as this thing stops acting weird. Let me check out the rest of the comments. Kenneth, I switched it to my American card now to save the $2. Good. But it's crazy how the government in Ecuador nickels and dimes people in taxation theft, but provides little in return. Wow, man, Kenneth, you can speak a lot of languages. I don't know if you speak Spanish and English, but you just spoke the truth. That's a comment that people make here as kind of a joke. But yeah, that is oof, that is super like based comments, I guess is what they call it nowadays. Um, really, a lot of people don't see where the taxation money goes, and I think that's something that happens even in the States, because I've heard people say that we get taxed so much and we don't really see any of it. Like I've always felt that the States does a really good job in what they do, but honestly, since I haven't been there in a while, I'm not sure, it's actually like happening the way that I think it is. So let me ask, do you buy movies? Physically? Question mark. Richard, hello Richard. Where's the best beach in Ecuador? I've actually got this video where we went to this beach that is really, really nice. My friends said it's paradise. I don't want to spoil that, so I won't say anything about that beach. But what I will say is that one of the best beaches that I've been to, but I haven't been there in a long time, is Los Frailes, which is like a protected area. And the beach is super like clean, the water is super nice. So I personally liked Los Frailes. Yes. But I'm pretty sure some people will say like Salinas, or maybe they'll say, what's another beach that's really well known? I guess it also depends on where you're at, because for distance, a lot of people like, for example, San Clemente, because it's super close. No, I use. This chat thing is lagging, so I'll have to wait. Subscriptions. So yeah, it's gonna really depend on from person to person. Let's see here. Kathy, Mexican conflict shouldn't impact any expat as long as one, you're not Mexican, and two, you aren't involved in politics. This is going to disappear as a topic, most likely. Like I said, people aren't really looking at it as much as they were the first few days. Rudy, I really appreciate your detailed answer. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, from Canada, and yes, if I could, I would spend all my money on delicious Ecuadorian food. I know a lot of people are really looking forward to that, are really hyped about that. I actually had a comment on one of my videos, someone who mentioned encebollado, like they want to come and taste the encebollado with the chifle, and it's like, you gotta. I decided to give you my $2 instead rather than the Ecuadorian government. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate that. Daniel, hola, buenas tardes. Buenas, Daniel. How's it going? Hope everything is good. Oh, my legs. All right, so I just made a poll question. Let's see here, Kenneth. I use ChatGPT Premium a lot. It's super helpful for my job to work much more productively. Recently, since I got back into the school workforce, my coworkers were talking about a whole bunch of AI resources. And I was surprised because I thought I was really ahead on the AI game. But man, they found a lot of things that I didn't even know about. And I was really humbled by it, first of all. And second, I was really impressed also because it just shows how far AI has come and how far it's getting. And I think it's great because, once again, if you know how to use it, it's really good. What I don't like is the possibility to abuse it in a negative way. Like the typical situation with students just using it for things that they shouldn't. Or another example that I heard of someone basically using it to write articles and not really like do it themselves. It's like, then why? And let's see here. Papicho, I love roscas. Is there any chocolate covered roscas? If not, you should start making them and selling them. Man, I don't even know how to make roscas. And I wouldn't want to like start doing something that I'm not like, it's not for me. I don't consider myself a chef in any way. I know how to make my healthy meals. I quote unquote them because I think they're healthy, but for some people, if you're vegan, you might think, no, too much meat, too much chicken. For certain people in the keto scene, the chicken might be too much. So yeah. But no, I haven't seen chocolate covered roscas. What they do have is these really big, thick pink roscas that they have, ooh, it made a heart. They have, what do you call that? The pinkness is like something sugary in these roscas. So they're just like sugar roscas, I guess you could say. I prefer the salty versions, but the sugar ones are good if you're into the sweets. I just avoid sweets most of the time. Like I will buy myself chocolate whenever there's a chance. Like I've said before, I love tangos, but I also try to save on that. Um, Kenneth, I like the little roscas. I've never tried chocolate ones. Um, like I said, there's the pink sweet ones. You might want to try those. El patrón del paisaje. Hello, patron. I'm in US, and the girl from Guayaquil recently told me that if I go there, it is likely that I will be kidnapped or killed. She said that family members of hers have been killed and they stopped eating out. First of all, I'd like to say that if you see your the girl from Guayaquil, I assume she's a friend of yours. Tell her I'm sorry for her loss and I'm sorry that that happened to her and her family. I don't know if they were just I want to say a victim of circumstance. I don't want to say that maybe they are involved in something because I don't know that and I don't want to make implications that aren't true. So I just hope that that she's okay, her family, the rest of her family are okay. And really here you have to make decisions, especially if you're in Guayaquil. And I've said this many times for the naysayers that say Guayaquil is a safe place. Um, don't get overconfident when it comes to Guayaquil. If you go, don't put yourself in danger. Hide. Stay at home. If you can order things to eat, like do that. Because you don't even have to go out really when you're in Guayaquil or in any city. But it's not necessary for you to put yourself at risk, but I can't really say much more than that because I don't know the situation of her family. I just hope that her family, the rest of her family is okay. And thank you for your comment, Patron, and for sharing that. Kenneth, speaking of your leg, how did your leg heal from that injury you had from way back when? So that was last year's injury at around June, July. And right now it's okay. Like honestly, I can't say it's in bad condition. The only thing I will say is that since I didn't do rehabilitation because I couldn't afford it and I don't have insurance, I do feel like if I move my leg in certain angles, like let me see, over here, no, over here, no, over here, no, kind of over here, kind of like when you move your leg like this, your foot, and a little bit when I do like try to force it up, and certain times when I run, there's still a little bit of like residual pain, but it's not like the extreme level of like when it was obviously when I got injured. Um, I can run again, I can do exercise again. I've actually started going back to football training because we supposedly want to play a game, but I told them I'm not playing that game unless we have a complete team because that is one of our issues on the football team over here, that we don't have enough people to officially play a game. and I'm not going to risk myself to get injured just because we want to have a little bit of fun. Fun, my foot should not be the price of fun. So yeah, let's see here. What are roscas? Roscas are these lovely things, Kathy. So they're basically these like, I don't want to, they're not donuts. Hold up. I should put the just chatting scene so that way it's like a full screen experience. So these things, these are roscas. They're like little, you could say they're shaped like donuts because they're circular with a little hole in the middle. And the closest thing to taste, imagine, I don't know if you've ever tried in the States, there's this bread that I don't really know. It's like toast, actually, like toasted bread that you can just buy in like a bag, like toast, and like you eat it, and it's like it's toasted bread, like really toasted, like hard toast, like crunchy. It's kind of like that. I feel like the closest thing to roscas is that. So it's basically like eating toast, but in circular form, and it has, of course, a slightly different taste. But that's the best thing I can compare it to. Kenneth, my family lives in Guayaquil. It's spicy, but not that dangerous. Kenneth, I think it's mainly like where you live and like the circumstance. That's why I don't know if maybe the family of the girl, maybe they have people who are involved in something like politics or something like that. But I can't say. That's why I don't want to speculate and say things that aren't true, because then it's just like defaming her family, and that's not fair. I can only speculate and give the idea, but I won't say that that's the case. They could have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. I use this example all the time. I could be in a place where next to me there's a criminal or a person who's involved with the gangs, the mafias, and they have a hit on them, and because I'm next to them, I could get shot. Like, things can happen. Kenneth, people sometimes act like Guayaquil is Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I do think some things are exaggerated. I can't speak for them because I don't live in the places that they're in. So it's like, there's not much I can do. Daniel, when you say football, do you mean soccer? No, I mean American football. Believe it or not, I am an American football player. I know I'm kind of on the thin side for a football player, but I do love American football. Just that because of my injury, I stopped going, and now recently I've gone back, and I want to play. I just don't want to risk injury, which is why I told everyone, if we don't have a full team, I'm not going to keep going, because it's not fair to me to put myself at risk when I need to work. I need to make sure everything is okay at home, just for a little bit of fun. I hate to have to put it like that, but it's the reality. Kenneth, I'd say Guayaquil is more like a tropical Detroit, if that makes sense. I'd like the explanation of the tropical Detroit, to be honest. Beyond Borders, like Melba toast. I'm wondering if that's the closest thing to it. I don't remember. Hold up, let me see. I have a computer in my face and I'm not using it. Melba toast. Oh yeah, yeah. Exactly like that. That is exactly what I was thinking of. I'm actually going to show the image, the one that I found. Let me see. Yeah, this is pretty much what I imagine as like the closest comparison to a rosca. Like, I would say that a pretzel is also very similar because of the twisting and stuff, but like in taste, the pretzel is very different in taste. And I feel like that this Melba toast, is more like the taste of a rosca. Not the same, but very similar. As they say, nothing is the same. Getting real dramatic there. El Patron, I appreciate your take as well, Kenneth. You got it, bud. Peace and love. Oh no, Daniel, why? American football, I'm unsubscribing. We Europeans are all about soccer. I mean, here in Ecuador, everyone's about soccer. I'm just really, really bad at soccer. Like, it's so funny because everyone will say, "You're not really Ecuadorian. You should know how to play soccer." But I'm really bad at soccer. Almost hilariously so. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's like, you know, it's not my thing. I grew up playing American football, so it's for me, soccer is like not my thing. I know how to throw the American football. I can kick a soccer ball, but I'm just no accuracy kicking it, no ball control that is at a respectable level, I would say. So yeah, I will say this though, my dad and my brother love not American football. They love soccer. They're always watching it. They're always talking about it. I'm just like listening to the side, like cool. I respect every sport, by the way. I just when I'm not good at them, I'm less inclined to watch or talk about them because I don't want to say something that I don't like about something that I don't really know about. You know. Okay, I think I'm gonna end the poll because it's been a while. Let's see what we got. Well, if this thing will let me end it. It's so weird how the chat control won't let me end the poll. Okay, well, I'll probably have to do it from over here if that's possible. I wish I could just end it from here, from the chat screen over on YouTube that I have open over here. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else anyone would like to mention or talk about in regards to the crisis, the Mexican embassy. Um, really, I feel like there's not much to cover in terms of those things, especially the embassy situation, because like we said, it's more of a political thing. All right, so the poll results. No, I use subscriptions, 92%, and yes, 7% buy physically. So yeah, the split, at least between 13 votes, the majority use subscriptions. And it makes sense. It's just a lot more convenient nowadays to use subscriptions. I just don't like how everything is like forcing you to do that. Like I like owning things so that way I can use it later without having to worry, will I be able to use it? It's kind of frustrating. Gloria, taxes. Immigrants coming to Ecuador and residing for 183 days have tax duties here in Ecuador too. Just because you do not meet the threshold of income, you must still file a tax return. Taxes you may not owe, but you must declare an information return. No one is above the law, not even Noboa Jr. There's a lot of conversation, and we're going to go into kind of like the rumor mill about how the situation is between the I guess you could say the people who are in power and rich and people who aren't. But there's a lot of conversation about how Noboa, for example, his dad owed a lot of money to the IRS, the SRE, and he's not being forced to pay it. And it's like he's just being overlooked. And it's corruption in a way, because if you're not charging your family what they have to be charged, it's kind of unfair for the people who are being charged the things that they have to be charged. Fairness, you know? Um, There's a lot of talks about that and about how the whole situation, how the government and the laws and things in general favor the rich. But I feel like that I will say I feel like we're very similar to the states, because in the states I just hear about how people who are rich, they kind of do what they want, and since they only have to pay a fine, it's like they pay the fine and everything is good. But for a normal person, they'd never be able to pay those fines. Um, let's see here. Papicho, do you wear contacts? I've worn them before. I just don't have any right now because I haven't bought any. so I haven't been able to afford them, you know. But yeah, I have worn contacts before, and maybe for when if I start. Oh yeah, but that's something I do need actually. If I play football, I need contacts because if not, it's difficult for me to see. I've been playing without them, and I've noticed that as the quarterback, it's kind of complicated. But I just kind of sucked it up because I want to win, but there are things that I just can't afford. Taxes, we have taxes in the form of one, wealth tax, $10,000 if your assets are over 1 million, but you must still report that you do not have over 226K worldwide. A lot of tax information. Daniel, yes, owning things brings the nostalgia, like when your parents took you to the video store in the 90s, depending when you were born. I think a lot of people do argue because of the nostalgia factor. I argue more because of the ownership factor. I hate the idea of having something that's not actually mine. Then what was the point of paying for it, you know? Beyond Borders, I don't see Don on here, but welcome back, Grumpy Old Gringo. Oh yeah, definitely. Don's not here right now, I think. I did see that he posted a video because I got a notification. But I'm really happy that he's back, and I'm happy he's okay. In the sense that he's all right. And I just hope that I can see him one of these days. We can hang out because it's been a while at this point. But no rush because I know we have some time. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any other questions in regards to the situation. If not, I do want to cover, I think I didn't get a chance to cover the last point on the popular consultation, which is the one that I think a lot of people here are kind of worried about. And I still don't have a concrete opinion on this one either. Oh boy. I'd actually like to hear what you guys think about this one. I'm gonna leave let me see here. Gonna make a poll. I had forgotten the joy of making polls. I feel like a dummy. Let's see here. The question would be, how would you specify this question? To change. Wage format. I'll explain it because I think that would be the best way. So first, let's look at the popular consultation before we put the question out there. Let me see here. This thing right here. Okay, so as you can see, consultation point number 11. Do you agree to amend the Constitution of the Republic and reform the labor code for fixed term and hourly employment contracts when entered into for the first time between the same employer and worker without affecting the acquired rights of workers in accordance with Annex 4? So my question is, do you think Ecuador needs to change to an hourly wage format? I'm going to start the poll. So basically, a lot of people talked about this when it was first mentioned, but apparently one of the things that they want to change here is having an hourly wage instead of the typical, I guess you could say, contracted minimum wage that you would have. I've heard arguments for both sides because, of course, there's arguments for both sides. And one side in particular is saying that if abused the right way, which people know how to do a lot, you could end up like for example, for 1 hour of work, like underpaying someone, or vice versa, to kind of fit in with corruption, you overpay them for that hour of work, and other people you underpay them in order to kind of like make a balance that's kind of weird. It's a weird conversation because like I'm more thinking about it in the sense that, in the negative sense, of course, because I'm a person who works and I realize that salaries are never what you want them to be. And I'm just worried about how they're going to abuse it and find a way to underpay people. Raven, hello. Thanks for the donation. I appreciate it. I missed some comments. Beyond Borders, will military be taking control of the prisons on a regular basis? If the popular consultation goes to yes, see, basically, if there's chaos and like to a level where it's like uncontrollable, then the military will take action. From what I understand with the first popular consultation question, it's basically that they won't do anything, like the military won't take action unless it gets to the level where they need to take action. But now they have the permission, they will have the permission to take action. And that's what people are really, I guess, hopeful and excited about. Let's see here. Gloria, foreigners living in Ecuador only pay tax on the income that they specifically earn in Ecuador from their Ecuadorian domiciled business. I'd really like to see, I think Don Shader, my good buddy Don, might be able to give a little bit more info on what he's paying in terms of income tax or IVA, any kind of tax that he's paying, because of course he's actually retired here, so it's like it's easier for him to probably answer that question. I'm currently working, and as an Ecuadorian, I might not be the best person to be able to talk too much about income tax on businesses outside of the country, except for YouTube. I will say that YouTube, whenever they pay me, it's like let's just say I earn the threshold, $100. YouTube takes a cut, or I don't know if it's the bank that takes a cut, because when the money gets to me, out of 100, I get like 80, and I'm like, $20? Holy dang, that's a lot. Holy camoli. So yeah. Daniel, I really feel both Ecuador and Colombia are clamping down on crime and corruption harder than ever now. I feel like it's way past due for them to do that, especially considering how El Salvador has been able to almost eradicate corruption. Let's see here. Kenneth, I feel like yes. I think hourly is good. Beyond Borders, hourly is not good. Employers should cut hours, and employees could cut hours, and employees will make less than $460 a month. That is one of the major problems with income in USA. Kenneth, I think it's good because it will make schedules more flexible for students and others. People work weird AF schedules in Ecuador to only get 460. Oh man, tell me about it. It is the most disappointing thing. And I know people who earn less than 460. Like I've mentioned my friend who's working for like less than half the minimum wage. And I always feel really bad for her. But I know people in teaching who earn less than a minimum wage, and they have to obviously get another job in order to compensate, because in comparison to them, I don't have children and they do. I mean, I guess you could say my parents are kind of like my children. Not really, but like I help them out. So it's like now it's kind of like the shoes on the other foot. My parents used to give me everything. Now I kind of like give them, and we kind of like reciprocate there. I still haven't gotten to the level where I can take care of them, but I hope to be able to one day. But yeah, it's pretty crazy the things that people go through in order to make things work over here. Let's see here. There was an argument, I guess you can call it an argument, about the minimum wage, but a positive part of the conversation, because there was a person who was saying that if you work on an hourly wage, that means you don't have to be stuck in a place for longer than you need to. And that makes a lot of sense. That was the main positive argument I was able to find when people started talking about that. To give you an example, if I wanted to, with an hourly wage, if I wanted to get 10 different jobs with an hourly wage, I could theoretically do that. 1 hour, I work in one place and I earn my salary for that 1 hour. Then I go to another place and I work another hour in that place. Then I go to another place and I work 3 hours over here. And then I go to another place and I work another 2 hours over here. So I can distribute myself even better because now I'm not locked into one place for longer than they're paying me. So in that sense, when they explained it to me like that, it sounded really good. But everything else, the possibility of like them abusing it is what I didn't like. So we can look at this obviously both ways, positive and negative. I just hope we go for the positive path, you know? So yeah. Let's see here. Kenneth, exactly. My poor cousins work 12 to 14 hours to make 460. The lucky ones make 2 times, 3 times multiples of 460. At least with hourly, you will be able to reduce the number of hours you work. What you clock in equals what you get. Yeah, that's basically, it's pretty much similar to what I'm saying. If you work your hour, you worked it, you have to get paid for it. So they can't just tell you, oh no, you have to complete the work schedule, which over here is 8 hours. And the frustrating thing is then after that, they say, no, you can't leave at 8 hours. You have to wait until we tell you you can leave. So it's like, but my contract says I have to work 8 hours, and then they look at you like you're the bad guy because you're respecting your contract. Like your contract says 8 hours. Why should I have to stay 9 just because you're telling me to because you need me to do something else? That's not my job. It's frustrating. But yeah, let me see how that poll is looking. Ooh, it's pretty split. Interesting. If you have any arguments for or against the hours versus the baseline minimum wage, let me know. I'd love to hear the conversation because I'm really curious about it. So yeah, let me close down the reaction scene. Let me see if I can find something else that I was looking at earlier. So there's no hate towards Mexican people because we in Ecuador, because of the embassy issue, we're not mad at people in Mexico. We're just mad at the government for doing something that might end up having repercussions. It's just that in Spanish you can say repercutando, so having repercussions on us in the future. Let's see here. Well, I found one of the things that I wanted to say. Let's see here. Okay, so let me show you this other post that I found on Reddit. Quite an interesting one also. And we'll talk about it in a bit. I actually read through this and I was like, that's just the way things are, which is sad for me to have to think. Kenneth, however, a possible concern this does bring up, if you are hourly, who is paying for your ES on the employer side? Good question. I think from what I understood, especially if you read the question, the consultation question, it says that without affecting the acquired rights of workers in accordance with Annex 4. So we'd have to look at Annex 4, and let me see if I can find it over here because this site had a lot more info. It was so much that my brain was exploding after reading the first few things. Let's see here. Do you agree? It looks like it's out of order over here. Entire sentence, penalties, armed forces. There we go. So Annex 4, to replace Article 327 of the Constitution of the Republic with the following. So this is what would be replaced. This is how it would become afterwards. The employment relationship between workers and employers shall be bilateral and direct. Any form of precariousness, such as labor intermediation and outsourcing in the company's or employer's own and usual activities, or any other that affects the rights of workers individually or collectively, is prohibited. Fixed term and hourly contracts, when entered into for the first time between the same employer and worker, without affecting the acquired rights of workers, do not constitute forms of job insecurity. Failure to comply with obligations, fraud, simulation, and unjust enrichment in labor matters will be penalized, or penalized, I've heard is also a pronunciation, and sanctioned in accordance with the law. Replace Article 14 of the Labor Code with the following: standard contract and exceptions. The individual employment contract for an indefinite period is the typical modality of the stable or permanent employment contract. Its termination will occur only for the causes and procedures established in this code. The following are exempt from the provisions of the preceding paragraph: fixed term contracts, hourly contracts, contracts for certain works which are not customary in the activity of the company or employer, contingent, occasional, and seasonal contracts, apprenticeships, and such others as may be determined by law. General provision: first, within 30 days, the Ministry of Labor will issue the ministerial agreements that will regulate fixed term and hourly contracts. So from what I was able to read, I don't see anywhere where it explicitly states the situation with the ES, with having the the Social Security, I guess you could say. But in that same way, since I don't see it, I don't know if that means it's already stuck in there and you can't remove it, or if it's not stuck. You could say that because it says that you can't, nothing can constitute job insecurity, the things over here, you can say that this section here, failure to comply with obligations, you could say that because of this, maybe we still have the possibility to have our ES no matter what. Maybe it'll depend on if the company wants to have you there or not. Like, I'm assuming they'll find a way to make it so that it makes sense, because even I'm seeing it as kind of weird. But I feel like because of what it says here, failure to comply with obligations and giving workers insurance is an obligation. I don't feel like it can be taken away just because you're on hourly wages now instead of the whole monthly situation. Gloria, receiving a fixed salary every month is best, regardless of the number of hours worked within a reasonable range, or would you rather work for $1.96 per hour? Hourly wage is borderline slavery. I did do the math once, and it was really low when I did the math, because if you try to reach the 460 and how many hours you have to work to get that, and how little they'll pay you for each hour, it does seem kind of weird. But of course, they could just pay you more and then you would work less. But who actually does that is my question. That's why I'm not sure it would work out the way that that I'd want it to, or that most people would want it to, where we get paid a decent wage without having to overwork ourselves. Like, the ideal scenario is what Kenneth says, like working the hours you need to work and getting the heck out of there and being paid what you're owed. But I don't think anyone's gonna gonna do that, because I kind of can see it this way, and looking at it from the lens of like I said, normal Ecuadorian person. If I go to a place, ask for a job, or I have my job, and tomorrow they say we have to change it to hourly wages because that's what the government asked for, but your hourly wage is gonna be this, and my hourly wage is less than what I wanted, or they're trying to make me work more hours, and if I say no, then what they're going to tell me is, okay, well, we can end our business there. There's a line of people who want to work and who are gonna work for the price that you don't want to work for. So it's nice knowing you. And then you're left without a job, and someone else comes in who's willing to take the reduced pay because they just need work. I could completely see that happening because it always happens. And not always in a work setting, but it's always well, yeah, it's typically in a work setting and something that where you get paid. Where if someone is willing to receive less, to charge less, then they'll probably go for that service instead of the one that charges more. Sometimes price is related to quality, but in a situation like this, it's more like taking advantage of someone who's willing to receive less just to avoid paying another person more. Beyond Borders, if they make hourly $2 an hour and you work 40 hours a week for $80, then you pay the taxes that NABOA is enforcing. That comes to $320 a month before taxes compared to current $460 a month income before tax. Currently, minimum is $115 a week, but it could go down by $35 a week. That's losing more than the new EVA. Oh, man. If it goes down like that, then ooh, that'd be terrible. I honestly don't know how things are going to work out, though, because the way that people paint it for themselves and in some cases for others, there's a good chance that these whole popular consultations can be very confusing. So typical when you vote for something, sometimes you think that the vote is going in the direction that you think it is, but because of the wording, it actually goes against. And here, I think the confusing thing is going to be the wording because most people want the military to keep taking action. So if they think that the whole consultation is in regards to that, which of course each one is a separate topic, but if they think that everything is like related to that or like linked to that in some way, then there's a good chance they'll vote yes, even if they don't want that. So that's a concern that I have, but more on the interpretation side of things. Like there are people who I'm pretty sure don't want the minimum wage to be not the minimum wage for wages to be hourly, but there's a good chance that there are people who do want that, and even the people who don't are going to end up voting for it out of confusion from the whole popular consultation. That's my current concern on that issue. But yeah, so those are at least the main consultation topics that I think are most pressing at the moment. So the one about the extradition or extradition, the one about, of course, the military taking action more consistently, and the one about the labor code and the fixed salary versus the hourly wages. There are, of course, other ones, but I haven't heard as much talks about the other ones as the ones that were just mentioned. Nico Walks, does it have to be one way or the other? Well, if we look at what it was saying over here in the other page that's a little bit more detailed, if we go down, close that. If we go down, where was that? It does seem like there's still fixed term contracts and they're separate from hourly contracts. So I don't know if the implementation of hourly contracts means that there's the possibility of now there being hourly contracts where before that wasn't a thing, or if this is just all part of the same thing, just that you need a fixed term contract in order to establish the hourly contract. There are things that we're not going to know until we actually undergo them, or someone who has more knowledge of the law gives an explanation for. Thanks for your comment, Nico, because it's interesting. It could be that it doesn't have to be one way. It could just be the other, one way. Or okay, I'm gonna stop. Let's see here. Gloria, an hourly wage would make everyone an independent contractor and will almost starve to death. Let's face it. This labor referendum is targeted to the unskilled workers or one who just graduated college. Could be. In that sense, you could think that Noboa is thinking of the, I guess, the younger people who don't typically have work, and this is a good way for them to get a job without it being like a permanent thing, or for them to be able to focus on their studies and work. Because even when I was in college here, I had to work while I was in college in order to have some spending money. That was actually how I bought my first motorcycle. I bought a used motorcycle really cheap. I had to travel to another city to get that. Um, but it could be that maybe this is more of a push towards helping the younger community, which is part of the community that actually voted Noboa into power, because a lot of people voted for Noboa because they believed in someone new and not so um, caught up in the old ways. Didn't Lasso do a vote similar to this to get his policies passed by asking the people, and all the items were voted down? I don't remember, and I'm not sure if it's the same thing like I mentioned earlier about the oil being mined. I know that with the oil, it was approved, but something happened between the people who managed the oil, and they didn't agree with it not being mined because they needed to keep mining that oil or extracting it. At least that was the argument they had against the popular consultation result. I'm not sure if what you're talking about is what happened to Lasso most of his term, where everyone says that he kept trying to get something to happen, and because of Congress that was against him because they were all Correa or Correistas, that's why nothing ever did happen. I can't remember that exactly, so I apologize for that, Beyond Borders, but I'm not sure if it's one of those two situations that you're mentioning right now. Oh, that's right. I was going to talk about this Reddit post over here. I'm going to start closing down some of these other tabs as well. The toast one. So I know this is a little bit off topic, I guess, from what we're talking about right now, but it did kind of frustrate me seeing this because it's not the first time I've heard of it. And it's also just a precaution that I give constantly on your things when you're over here. But there was apparently a situation where someone had their electronics stolen, and it it's frustrating because they were doing things right. They had their backpacks in front of them, like between their legs, and a worker apparently told them to put it behind under their seats, which is crazy to me because no worker typically tells you to do that. I think the worker might have seen them as foreigners and told them to do that in order to take advantage, or it might not have even been a worker, just someone who was dressed as one or impersonating one in order to get them to lower their guard so that way they could get robbed. But it's sad because they tried to take the necessary precautions only to be taken advantage of pretty much. The bad thing is, as the first comment over here says, you don't lose anything reporting it, but you might get at least a bit of justice if you declare what happened to the bus company. Well, they didn't say it, but many times one of these comments says that basically nothing happens. You can report it. I think it here. I reported it to the police, including stating the bus driver refused to help me and nothing ever happened. The bus company also refused to refund me and did not take responsibility, despite the fact that they stopped somewhere where they were not allowed to. And it's just a thing that happens. It's a frustrating thing that happens, but it is something that happens. And I saw that, and it was just something that I was like, we got to talk about this a little bit. Remember, when you know what you're doing is right and nothing wrong, don't listen to someone who is clearly not trying to do things correctly, even if it's apparently someone who looks like a worker. So yeah, I think we've talked about the majority of the topics that are the most pressing at the moment. I don't know if anyone has any other questions in regards to the current situation, anything we talked about here. I kind of feel like this is a class. Do you have any questions about what we talked about here today? Please raise your hands if you do. I am taking questions at the moment to anything that you'd like to talk about. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention earlier for lunch, since on Saturdays I do sometimes have lunch. Today we had encebollado. It was so good. All right, I think I'm gonna end the poll also because I don't think we're getting any more replies. So again, 13 votes with 69% yes, and 30% no. Okay. There are benefits, if done correctly, of doing the minimum wage with what, well, not the minimum wage, the hourly wage. I just emphasize the doing it correctly part, especially considering if this is the beginning of doing hourly wages. I work at a place where I get paid by hour because I use the receipts. But it's like there are ways that people can take advantage of that. And I'm pretty sure the first year at least, or maybe the first 6 months, people are going to take advantage of that. They're going to do things that I don't think are going to be right. We could believe in an ideal world where everything goes well, but normally that's not what actually happens. Let me see here. I wanted to look at something really quick. Okay. Daniel, that theft is unfortunate, but these are the risks that come with travel. Some people won't even travel on buses in foreign countries. True. I always, for safety issues, recommend going with the most simple solution, which is to just take private transportation, because it just feels like you risk a lot less doing it. Yeah, you pay more. Yeah, you lose a little bit of the experience of bus travel. But I feel like I always prioritize safety, because at the end of the day, if I'm not safe, then everything else doesn't matter. Beyond borders, I'm glad my working years are over. I won't have to worry about it if they do pass hourly. True. That's a good thing. Always got to look at the positives. Okay, there's one more thing. If I don't know if anyone else has any other questions. If not, there's something that I was contemplating doing, but I'm not sure. The problem is, can I do this? Because this is always an issue when I try to do these things. Well, first of all, I can't do it from here. Okay, we'll see. Nico, there is a new 3% tax for anti-crime. Does that reduce protection rackets? If businesses don't have to pay protection, then they make more money and it's better economy. Does that make sense? I don't know if what you're referring to is how if 3% for anti-crime. Do you mean the protection of people, like with the police, and that's what we're paying for in tax, and because of that businesses can stay open and avoid danger, which in turn means that the economy gets better. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but I mean, that's logical in the sense that, of course, that's how you would assume that things would happen. I just don't think, even with military protection, like even now we've had military and police protection, and even then it's like everything hasn't been resolved. So I'm kind of concerned that things aren't going to go exactly the way we want them to, you know? I mean, we can hope. Are you seeing less immigrants out in the streets touring as a result of this cartel battle? In Cuenca, there's about 50% less immigrants since the COVID pandemic. Over here where I'm at, I guess in my city, you really don't see immigrants as much because there's not a pull towards people coming to Puerto Viejo. Like the people that I know that aren't from here are very few and counted. I could probably count them with less than the 10 fingers I have on my two hands. Well, 5 on each. So it's like there weren't a lot in the first place, and now there's probably less in terms of in the sense of people like, you know, staying. I did see in the Manta group, Manta, that there was a person who was talking about how him and his son saw some news on X, Twitter, and they were like, no, we can't stay here, so they're leaving because of that, and also because I think they got some other business in the States. So yeah. Beyond Borders, EVA increase and vaccines is what I think he means. So 15 hopefully eliminates the blackmailing. Um, that's hard to say, really. Like if we're talking about the vacunaciones, the vaccines that these criminals do, like if there is more protection out on the streets to the point where they can't do that anymore, then of course businesses are in theory going to be able to stay open and not have to worry about that. And in theory, they're going to have more money. But we're once again talking about in theory. I don't see the military being able to control everything. I mean, I'm not saying they're not doing a good job. I'm just saying that it's just impossible. There isn't apparently enough military to go around. It would be nice, but even Bukele hasn't been able to eliminate the blackmailing, extortion of money. So it's not a perfect solution. I don't think there really is a perfect solution in a country where drugs can circulate semi-freely. I guess you could say not freely, but it's like it feels like. I mean, I've said it before. I know people who sell them happy brownies, and like, how do you get your hands on happy brownies when drugs are supposed to be illegal? So it's like, kind of jank, kind of wonky, but you know, we can only hope. Right now, we're in that position where the best thing we can do is just hope. Do you think Noboa did what Noboa did was wrong, as Nicaragua and other Latin American nations have sided with Mexico too? I do think it was wrong enough to the point where that had to happen, because you know it was like you go into someone's house like in without their permission. That's not cool. Um, but I think two wrongs don't make a right. And Noboa pretty much did it because the Mexican embassy decided to harbor a criminal. So it's kind of like I get I said it before, I think in the last live stream, I get the reasoning behind his actions. I just don't completely agree with what he did, because I feel like it puts the normal citizens in danger of possible repercussions from a country like Mexico. Like, why do we want problems? Why would we want problems with Mexico? But now we have them. I can't say they're going to be like, oh, big, huge problems, but it's still problems, you know? We'll just have to see how it presses forward, because like we said earlier, a lot of the problems that are probably going to emerge will emerge from here until like months or years, Ecuador could just end up making a resolution with Mexico directly, like, oh, a conversation with them to try to solve things without having to go to the extremes. Or worst case scenario, we get kicked out of the ONU. And I don't know what kind of repercussions that's going to have. That would be a real interesting test. Not one that I'm willing to take, but, you know, a test that we might end up being forced to take, regardless of what we want. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the situation? I did want to update you guys really quick. I've been in the middle of suffering at work. I've been editing the video that I have, like the video I made for the Easter weekend, and like it's going along well, but it's taking me longer than I wanted because, of course, of the work. I've been like showing parts of it to my friends who were part of that trip. So I wasn't sure if I should show you like the first, because I have an hour of footage uploaded on YouTube, which obviously it's not complete footage. It's just the, like what I was showing my friends, the advances I made. So I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to check that out, but I also don't want to spoil it too much. So I don't want to go over like too much time, because there's like an hour of footage. Like I could show you maybe like 2 minutes, and that's just like the intro pretty much. But I'm not sure if I want to spoil that. So I'm kind of like on the fence. Rick, how's it going? I appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. It really helps out a lot, believe it or not. I say believe it or not. I think you guys know it helps out a lot because I've always said it does. So thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome to the stream. Or I don't know if you've been here and you haven't said anything, but how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Gloria, being in the financial sector, the only thing I worry about is the economy in Ecuador, and the violence is not helping. Now this Mexico-Ecuador debacle makes it worse. Trust is most important. That was part of my conversation the last time we had the conversation in the last stream, because I'm worried about, put it like this, like we have deals with Mexico. We do business with Mexico. So it's like, if we have problems with them now, what's going to happen with the people who have deals with Mexico? Like they're going to be affected. That's why I think I mentioned it on stream the other day, but someone had posted a picture of the taco shells in Supermaxi on sale they were supposedly from Mexico. I didn't understand the image at first, but then I was like, oh, I get it now. It's because of the Mexico situation. And it's like the taco shells were on sale, and like you speculate, if they're on sale, it's probably because they're not going to have that product there anymore, so they want to get rid of it. So we're losing certain business with a company because of a problem that we could have avoided having. Nico, a different question is, why was Mexico willing to cause trouble for Ecuador, messing around with Ecuador's justice system? Ah, boy, that's a hard question to answer because I'm not in the mind of the Mexican president. I do know that everyone complains that the Mexican president and these politicians who Mexico just seems to love letting into the country so they can escape their problems from Ecuador, they're like friends, or they have like connections to him. So it's like he treats his friends well, I guess you could say. So I guess it's like it's more of a matter of personal interest. I even said on stream that I speculate that maybe it's because this guy, Glass, has some kind of connection with the Mexican cartels. So it's convenient for the Mexican president to help out his friend who's in connection with the Mexican cartels, because maybe even Mexico's president has something to do with the cartels. This is just speculation. This is just hypothetical. There is no way for me to confirm that this is the case. It's just what you can think of in this situation, you know, because it's so weird. Why would any country want to put themselves at risk, knowing that, like, not at risk, but why would they want to like be on the bad side of another country, you know? Though in theory, the conversation then shifts to the fact that Ecuador's embassy held a criminal for various years. I forgot what this man's name was, but they had a criminal, and it's like our embassy wasn't invaded. So it's like fair is fair. Fair can't just be fair for you, but not for me, or just fair for me, but not for you. Fair has to be fair for everyone. Beyond Borders, save it. No sneak previews. Okay, no sneak previews then. We saved the video for a different occasion, for when it's ready. I will give a warning. That video is probably going to be at minimum 40 minutes long, and I do apologize. Think of it as a vlog, as a vlog, because it is literally a trip. But with my friends, with motorcycles, it's super cool. I won't go into more details because I have promised members a post on that, and I still haven't done that because time has not been on my side. I got out of work today to schedule the live stream, and then afterwards, relax. So yeah. You're moving where? Ecuador. Interesting question. Interesting name. Hola, my friend, just got here. How's it going? Hola, buenas. Don't know why this is using my alt account for chat, but Kirk, how's it going? Maybe you need to sign in with the other account. You might want to check the on the right side of your screen, like when you're on YouTube, on the top, and use like other account or switch account, where it says on the top, there's switch account, and you can switch from one account to the other. Maybe something happened. Carla Banks, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it a lot. It helps a ton, believe it or not. I gotta stop saying believe it or not. Everyone knows that the help is very necessary right now. Let's hope for good things in the future. Let's see here. Beyond Borders, Ecuador did it to UK and USA with Assange. Yeah, that's the person I was talking about. That's why it's so weird to me, you know? Gloria, salida de divisas. Now we have to pay 5% tax on the money that has already been taxed upon exiting the country, above $1,380. Don't bring too much cash to Ecuador because it will not leave here. I'm wondering if the money, like for example, anything that's taxed. Oh, by the way, Jay, how's it going, Jay? I hope you're good. Also, Yuri or Uri, hello. Let's see here. Yeah, I've heard about money. Like I said, when YouTube sends me money, like it gets taxed, and it's just, and it's frustrating because I feel like out of 100 to lose 20 is a lot. But yeah, let's see here. Hypothetical, but likely. Yeah, I mean, there's no way for me to confirm it, and like, of course, they would deny it. But there's that chance, there's that possibility that there's that connection, you know? Let's see here. By the way, Carla, though, I do appreciate the dono. If you got anything to say, I would appreciate it. Same thing with Rick. I love it when you guys interact so we can talk a bit and I can know what's going on. Let's see here. Correct from Yuri, and 40 minutes is short. Believe it or not, people complain when I make a video over 30 minutes. So it's kind of sad to me to hear those complaints, because I feel like my longer videos are really good, because I put in a lot of effort into them. But sometimes it's inevitable. I can't do anything about a video that needs to be long. So I'm hoping it doesn't go over 40 to 45 minutes, but if it does, it's not on purpose. I don't try to purposely make videos long because I don't want to waste people's time. It's just, that's how big of a video and adventure that we had. So much footage that we had to record on various devices. So yeah. Kirk, That's what's weird. I checked that, even reloaded, and it's still messed up. Life on YouTube. It's super weird. I wonder why that happened. Let's see here. Papicho, how much do you pay for a haircut in Ecuador? Depends on who you go to. I used to go to a place that charged like $3. Um, and then recently now I switched up to a place that charges 5. I know it's weird to go up in price, but the other place that I used to go to, I have to coordinate my appointments for my haircuts. And I would send, I remember once I wanted to get a haircut, and it was when I had my hair long. I just wanted to kind of like, balance it out because it was all poofy. And I was like, hey, I need to go this day. What do you say? Can I go? And they told me that I couldn't. So it was like, dang. And then afterwards, so much time passed, and like I had to coordinate it. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go to a place where I have to coordinate less. So I went to my brother's haircut salon, and they charged $5, but at least it was guaranteed when I went. And yeah, I think they do a good job. Political asylum is not about protecting politicians. It's about how much money you are going to bring with you to the country that gives you asylum. Look at USA and Belgium. They have benefited nicely. Oh, well, I guess you could look at it that way as well. I think with the political asylum, it's just frustrating for people like for myself to know that someone is being granted asylum committing crimes that if I committed them, I'd be in I'd be in hot water, to not say anything worse, you know. Carla, hello. I came to the chat late, so I'll have to go back to listen. My plan is to move to Ecuador, so I'm keeping up with the tax laws and safety. I'll be back in the fall. Your videos are always very helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Carla. While I do accept criticism, negativity, like anyone who has something to say about a video that was poorly done, let me know. I do appreciate the very kind comments, and more so when I know I've helped someone, because that's the point of what we do here on YouTube most of the time. We entertain, we help, we do both at the same time, and I'm glad to do it. Daniel, Nico, diplomats have the right to immunity in embassies. It's not just Mexico. Their right to diplomatic immunity in other countries. So the breach that jeopardizes foreign relations. Haircut $2.50 at the Mercado in Cuenca with Olga. Yeah, there are places that charge cheaper than the $3 that I used to be charged. And I thought the $3 was cheap. What I liked about the place that I went to that charged $3 is that after the haircut, sometimes, not all the times, I'd also like the guy would also wash my hair. So it was like really nice. So it was like a full deal, like not just like the haircut, but also the wash. So yeah. Let's see here. Carla, I heard you say you didn't have insurance. I thought it was available to everyone. Is it too expensive, if you don't mind me asking? So the thing about insurance, and I think I mentioned this in my cost of living video analysis from last year, is that it's optional in the sense that if you don't have a job in a place, like in a private or public institution, it's optional. I work with my receipt book, so I don't work specifically for the company. I just offer my services to the place that I'm working at. Now, I could separately pay for insurance, pay for the ES, but the value of the ES depends on you really. You kind of put the value, but typically there's a specific amount that you give, which is like a percentage of your wage, of the minimum wage actually. So if I chose to pay that, I could, because I wasn't working for a place. Now I'm working at a high school, and once I have my contract and I sign it and everything, and I'm officially enrolled in the school, then they have to insure me. They have to insure me. They don't have a choice in the matter. They have to. Of course, that cuts from my salary. So in a way, I kind of want it but don't want it, but at the same time I need it because if I'm not insured, one, I can't work. Two, I don't get Social Security in the future, because the amount of money that you put in, and that's why the value depends on you, is how much you're saving up for towards the future, towards your future retirement. And apparently, and I talked about this, I think, in the same video, there's a workaround that some people do where they don't pay for insurance. And then the final years before they retire, they put in a whole bunch of money into like the insurance, like into paying for insurance, because apparently they don't take into consideration, and I can't confirm this 100%, but I've heard this explanation. They don't take into consideration the whole time you've been working, the amount that you've put in the whole time, but they take in more the amount that you put in, let's just say the last 5 or 10 years of work that you've done. So pretty much something along the lines of that is the situation. I don't currently have a salary that I can, like, before I had my new job that I have now, I was earning under the minimum wage, even with YouTube. YouTube, like, got me to minimum wage almost. I was earning around 300 and let's just say 320 a month. And with YouTube, sometimes I'd make it to 420 around there. And on good months, obviously a little bit more, which is great. But half of my salary goes into paying for stuff at the house. And that's considering it should be more, because if I were living on my own, I'd be paying a lot more. But the point is, I gave half of my salary to the house, and then another percentage of my salary, let's just say 10% or a little bit more, would go into paying for debts like my phone bill, the internet, and things like that. So that's with the money that I had left over. Yes, I could have paid for insurance, but I didn't want to be left with no money, because I always need to have some money in the bank just in case something happens at home. Like, there are months that my dad would tell me, hey, situation's been tough. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me go withdraw some money, and here, you can have that to help out a little bit. It wouldn't resolve the issue completely, because the issue doesn't really disappear. It just helps out at the moment. So yeah, that's the situation. I didn't have insurance. I still don't, but I should have it by the end of this month, beginning of next month. Let's see here. Hold up, I need water. Danielle Owen Blake, but should embassies be used by convicted criminals as an escape from justice? I mentioned this before, but I think a friend of mine who knows a little bit more about law was explaining to me that they can't really harbor criminals. But yeah, Gloria, Ecuador is a great place to invest in, but we must now regain the trust of the international investor. Not sure if the IMF is willing to lend Ecuador any more dinero. Is EC seeing loans from the IMF? I wouldn't be able to tell you that, to be honest. I'm not even going to lie to you on that. I have no idea. I haven't looked into like investments and stuff like that, because it's not really something I'm looking into right now, because I don't even have money to invest myself. Let's see here. Papicho, is car insurance mandatory in Ecuador? Optional. Yuri, I pay $28 for a haircut. Oh my God. If you don't mind me asking, what is the minimum wage in Ecuador? Minimum wage is $450. I think it was raised to $460 from last I heard. But as I've said before, minimum wage raises, and then it is immediately a pointless raise, because everything goes up in price. So you pretty much really didn't get a raise at all. Daniel says to Kirk, no, they shouldn't, but the reality is that they can technically, according to the law. I know it sounds crazy, but the law is the law. I still think it's a weird thing, and I don't even know if it really is legal, if they're just exploiting a loophole, because like maybe you're not allowed to, but the guy got permission, which I don't know how he got permission. Like I said, connections, but yeah, it's a weird thing, and I still don't agree with it either way. What was I gonna say? Really quick question to anyone living in the States, or well, anyone outside of the country. How much how much do you pay for an average washing machine and drying machine? Because our washing machine we need to get a new one. So I'm wondering if it's really expensive over here and not worth buying, or if it's just expensive everywhere. Because I feel like we need one now, because it's giving my mom more work, which she doesn't need. Well, she needs normal work, but not more work in terms of housework. It's not something that I want her to burden herself with. So I want to know what prices are for washing machines, because we might need to buy a new one since the old one's kind of messed up, and a drying machine as well. In fact, I wish we could update the fridge as well, because we've had that since I was in the States. We brought it over here. Beyond borders, minimum wage and prices work that way everywhere. Damn, that sucks. I hate that. It's not fair. It's like, why even raise the wage then? It's just perceived getting more money when you're not really getting more money. Is it easy to do an online job there for income, or not as easy as it may seem? Dutch and English language, not Spanish. I think it's easier than some people make it out to be. Like, even I think it's tough for me, just because I don't know the process. Like, I tried to get a job on these teaching websites, and I just couldn't, and I don't know why. One of them was, well, I know why. For one, it was overbooked, but the other one I never even got a response. So it's like, I guess it depends on what it is, and maybe how good of a curriculum you have. Maybe mine just wasn't acceptable enough. Not sure. So yeah, it is easy if you know how to do it. I saw a post on Reddit once. Someone was talking about they're making big money, but they're in a like a computer related business, like doing software, I think. And I think that's very lucrative if you do that. Beyond Borders, I just bought a new washer and dryer set for $1,250, $625 each. I think I heard my parents say that they can find one over here for around maybe $300 to $400. So I think that's not so bad. Yeah, so I think it's possible to buy one. I just hope the quality matches the price. Well, the price doesn't diminish the quality. Like, since you're telling me at $600 you can get a really good, you can get a washing machine and dryer set, then I'm worried that maybe at half the price it's going to be half as good, which wouldn't be worth it anyways. In San Diego, the price for a washer is about 600 to 1,000. Okay, so yeah, the average price seems to be around 600. But are we talking about high quality washing machines, or is it just like the lowest possible quality possible? Kind of curious about that. Then again, maybe I shouldn't be worried about quality. I should just be worried about having a washing machine or dryer. But at the same time, I want something that's going to last. Because that's what my parents said. The fact that a washing machine, the washing machine and dryer we had, we brought it from the States, which means we've had it for over 10 years. And it's worked wonderfully until recently, where it just decided to break down. Carla, washer and dryers are ridiculously expensive now. Is it because of all the technology they're adding? My cousin who lives in Quito, she works almost like a slave. Um, she has a really good washing machine, like, but it looks super modern. Like, I was like, oh man, how much did that cost? I don't remember the price, but I know that I kind of almost fainted when I heard it, because it was expensive, at least for what I would have expected. Let's see here. I bought GE. Okay, not bad. And what's your experience with the washer and dryer you have so far, Beyond Borders? You can definitely teach on Amazing Talker. All sorts of people with no teaching experience join from everywhere. Please, I might want to give that a shot. Well, a shot, because I still haven't tried it. I keep putting it off, and I don't know why. because it's not that I put it off. It's I get distracted by all the things that I have to do. I still have to do a whole bunch of planning. Carla, they don't last as long as they used to. Sorry. Dang. Maybe it's because of all the technology. Dennis, hello. Front or top loader? The one that we have, the washing machine, it's a top loader. The one that my cousin had, I think, was a front loader. Gloria, wages are very low in Ecuador. Here is a sample of people I personally know. Civil engineer, 3 years experience, $600. Lawyer with 2 years experience, $800. Bank teller, $500. Makes sense. Bank manager, $1,200. Makes sense. McDonald's help, 470. 470 is the minimum, the bare minimum. 460 it should be actually. Unless it went up to 470, which would be great. Even though, well, I don't know if I'll actually see that. The lawyer earning 800 is a lot better than I expected. And the civil engineer earning 600 is a lot less than I expected. The bank teller is about the price that I thought. Beyond borders, mine are smart machines. I can track from my eye. Oh, that's really cool. Is it worth having the technological advancement while losing in terms of durability? Interesting question for myself. Well, I guess I'm not going to have a choice. I'm going to have to buy whatever is in my budget in order to fix the situation. I'm going to be resolving a lot of things this year. The washing machine, I realized that it's been 3 months since my motorcycle had maintenance, so I have to do maintenance on my motorcycle. Like I talked about in my video, I've got the tooth thing. What else? I still got to buy that helmet. In fact, because you guys donated today, I think I might actually be able to buy that helmet and not feel like I'm going to be in a pickle for this month. What else? I know I'm forgetting something. Some debts. The phone bill's already paid for. My cell phone bill, luckily, I was able to lower it to $15 because I felt like I didn't need as much as I had in the old plan. And also there was another thing that I needed in terms of phone bill. So I lowered it a little bit. But the rest, I feel like I'm forgetting things. I still have to make the upgrades to this room, right? In order to turn it into my recording studio. I need a new chair. Let's see here. You know, I was gonna show it in the video, but I think I've showed it before. This is my chair. I have like a pillow on it in order to sit. This pillow is as old as time, so I'm lucky it even has any like cushioning left on it. Let's see here. Marvelous, thank you. 600 for a decent one, but the cheapest I found was 425. Don't recommend. I'll keep that in mind when I go out and search for a washing machine and a dryer. I also don't want to buy a cheap one because I want it to last. Mar, I meant to say if there was any job available for a Dutch and English speaking person, no matter what the job. Sorry. Oh, is there any job available? I mean, I talked about this in my Can You Find Work in Ecuador video, which gave a little bit of answer to certain questions. But in theory, you can find any job. You just have to be really willing, either A, to go to really remote places, or B, wait a very long time to find something that's worth it. Because most of the time, and I think there was more answers to that, but those are the two things that come to mind right now. Like you could get a job as an English teacher if that's something that you're into, or even teaching Dutch for people who might want to learn Dutch, but you have to become well known, or you have to wait a long time until you get well known enough where people decide to hire you for these things. Like for me, like at the beginning, no one knew who I was, but as I was substituting from school to school, as more people knew that I was a native English speaker, and as my experience as a teacher improved, now I'm one of the best English teachers in the city. because even my testing scores for English knowledge are really high. And that's not to like brag or anything. It's just the reality. Over here, it's hard to find people who have native English and know how to teach. You can find native English speakers and you can find teachers, but having a perfect combination of the two, very tough. Let's see here. And for other jobs that are not English teacher, like I said, you have to be willing to go places that maybe no one else is willing to go. But then you also have to accept the salary that they're willing to pay. Like sometimes you could find it, like I could probably find a better teaching job in Quito for better wage, but I'd have to go to Quito and I'd have to accept that I'd have to pay whatever Quito is like, charging me. And in Quito, finding cheap, good places isn't going to be as easy as finding them here in Puerto Viejo. And the food is more expensive as well. I was there, so I know. Let's see here. Beyond Borders, mine are both front loaders. I couldn't afford the pedestals. They wanted 450. Oh my God. Ooh, it's expensive. And that's considering you already paid a lot for those. So basically you would have almost paid $2,000 if you wanted the pedestals added. Beyond Borders helmet. Yes, my motorcycle helmet. I don't know if you remember. I did a live stream in December, I think it was, and I made a mention that my helmet, my motorcycle helmet, was robbed when I went to go record at the park. So I've been using my brother's helmet. And in fact, give me a second. I'm gonna go show you that. Oh, well, that's great. Well, there's no way for me to show you the helmet because my brother, I think, took it because it's his helmet anyways. I'm guessing he went out and his friend picked him up on a motorcycle, so he had to take the other helmet. But in order to resolve the issue of not having two helmets, because both of us have to go on a helmet, my brother's been using his old baseball helmet, which, no, not legal, by the way. But I think this helmet is about as good as certain helmets that some people use that are just literally like a little hat. It's a helmet that looks like a hat. And like I don't think that's a good helmet. So I've been meaning to buy a new helmet, but the months just haven't been good. Like every time I think I'm gonna have enough money to like, save for something else shows up. Like today, my mom and dad mentioned the situation with the washer and dryer. Like I mentioned in my update video that I made the other day, we need to talk. Like I have the whole tooth thing. I have to get those exams done. The exams was what I was forgetting. I had to get the air conditioner fixed the other day. What else? I have to upgrade the room in order to make it. I mean, that's something that can wait, the room. But what's something that's more pressing is that I have to go get the motorcycle, have it get maintenance, which means I have to change the oil and have it and make sure everything is okay. It's been squeaking, like it makes this really loud, like squeaky sound on the brake. So I think something needs to be changed there. But yeah, it's just some things that I have to do. So yeah, I've been wanting to buy a helmet in order to replace the one that got robbed. Carla, I have a smart washer. It takes almost an hour to wash a load, but they use very little water. Oh, I wish I still had my own machine. I think an hour seems like well, I don't know if that's a long time because over here it also feels like it takes forever for the clothes to get washed, but I guess as long as it gets washed. We need to fix that machine. We need to buy a new one. Nope, I'd rather have durability, not to be the cranky old guy, but things just aren't built the way they were when I was young. Now get off my now get off my lawn. It's funny, I not even the lawn thing, but I just remembered I took a picture of my dog in the morning and I posted it on Instagram. He was just like modeling in the middle of like the garage area where I live. So yeah, I just remembered that. But that was funny. Get off my lawn. Beyond Borders, I heard on other vlogs that furniture in Ecuador is very cheap. Define cheap. because remember, I think we have a different perspective on cheap sometimes in regards to what we've lived through. Like for me, cheap over here, like was the $350 washing machine that I think my parents mentioned it was like 350. But maybe over there, since the washing machine seemed to go from 600 to 1,000, 600 might sound like a cheap option. Or even Uri mentioned that there's a $425 one that he doesn't recommend. So it's like, you know, furniture. I remember this bed when I bought it, because I bought the bed and I bought the two, I forgot what those are called, but I bought the nightstands. Cost me around like, I think $1,000 or a little bit over. But it's a queen size bed, so it's a good bed, and it's lasted me this whole time. So I'm really happy with it. What else? In terms of furniture, I mean, I haven't bought anything else in terms of furniture in forever. This bed, I've had it for at least since like 2017, maybe 2016. That was when I was working the two jobs, and I had the means to buy the bed, because if not, I wouldn't have even bought the bed. In fact, you might not know this, but where this area that's here in front of me is another bed. My old bed, my childhood bed. It even has my little toy car collection up here and some katanas that are just like little fake katanas, a little wooden one and stuff. But yeah. Let's see here. Hapicho, do your research before buying anything. You can also go to the consumer reports. I don't know if that applies in Ecuador. I mean, there are some places that do have like not consumer reports, but you can get like reviews. The best reviews you can get are from people who actually buy from the places. Like my best friend was the one who recommended once when I was looking for a long time ago, when I was looking for a TV. He told me the place you could buy a cheap TV, and I went there and the TVs were cheap. That was earthquake year, of course, and that was when my TV got busted because of the earthquake. Go figure. But yeah, but it was cheap in comparison to other places that were selling them more expensive. Let's see here. Marblas, thumbs up. Gloria, most medical doctors without a specialty are making about $900 to $1,000. It seems about per the course. Part of the course. My friends who are doctors, I mean, they don't tell me how much they earn because I don't ask. And even when I do, sometimes people are kind of hesitant to tell you what they earn. I don't really mind because it's a reality. It's kind of embarrassing that it's so low, but it's a reality. Let's see here. Daniel, I remember a man who must have had a rotten tooth or something. His breath stunk so bad. When the wind blew, the smell carried su aliento. Wow, Daniel, that level of not really passive aggression was wow. There are people that happens. That's why I buy mouthwash, because even if I brush my teeth, I still worry that it's not enough. So just in case, I have to. I use mouthwash because I don't want to risk it. If anyone's gonna talk to me, they're gonna talk to someone with fresh breath. Let's see here. Rick Joyce, how much for a new helmet? Prices vary here depending on safety and quality. They depend on that as well. I think I mentioned it in a comment on my last video, the update video, we need to talk video. But one of the comments asked me about the price of helmets, and it depends also on the quality. Like you could get a helmet that's like similar to this. Like I said, it's literally just like the top part of this. Like it's a little hat helmet, and that costs like $10 to $15. But I wouldn't buy that because it's not worth it. And besides, I've heard that in some places that's not even legal. People use it basically just to tell the police I have a helmet, or they'll lie to the police and say, oh, I had to buy this helmet because my other helmet got robbed, which in my case is actually the case. I just didn't buy this and we had it. So they're gonna go buy another one. They're just using this one, or they had this one at home. But yeah, There are helmets that are also cheap that are like $20, but they're like circular and not really, they don't really look like they offer a lot of protection. I wanted to show you the one that my brother has because it's literally a clone of the one that I had, just that his was silver and mine was black. Well, his was gray, not really silver. But that helmet costs around $40 to $45, and it's an okay helmet. I don't really have the highest faith for it. It's better than the $20 ones for sure. But it's like it's good enough. If you wanted a quality helmet here, I don't even think you could find them because I think the most expensive helmets I've found, which are the quality helmets, are like $60. But I'm doubtful if they're actually quality helmets because some people say that they're just like knockoffs of the actual quality helmets because the actual quality helmets are supposed to cost like $100 or something like that. But yeah, I'd say that the approximate price of a good helmet is somewhere around like 50 at at lowest 40 if you want to look for the ones that I had, which were I felt like okay, good enough, to $100. And then of course you could just go for the high, I guess the highest quality ones, but you'd have to order those online because I have looked up online. There are really cool ones that cost like $200 and stuff like that. But I'm not looking for a $200 helmet, at least not until for some reason somehow I'm in a position where I can afford it. Um, and I don't even know why I would need it in the first place. Um, I just want something that's good. Maybe someday. I think someday because I do love my motorcycle, so I do like to have things that complement it well. I've actually been wanting to get a new motorcycle, but like, how can I afford that? Uh, gonna keep saving for that. Gonna work hard this year in order to make things better. Really, 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 I just want to make things better this year. It's kind of frustrating being in the same position the whole time. It feels like I've been stuck in time for a long time because like things don't get better. Fortunately, they don't get much worse, but they have been getting a little bit gradually worse to the point where now I need to take action more than I was doing so before. So yeah, Beyond Borders, handmade furniture by a master, los maestros, for as little as a table with 4 chairs for around $200. So I would guess a chair would be around $20, but I'm not actually there, so I can't swear by it. I mean, there's the possibility. I've seen some places that sell like the office chairs and the gamer chairs. I want an office chair. I don't want a gamer chair. The gamer chair, uh, a lot of people have said that it's just more of a visual thing. I just want a chair that's comfortable so that when I'm editing or when I'm doing work, like I can have a place to sit that's not this. And I've seen them for like as low as like $100. Uh, there are cheaper ones, but those I don't trust. When anything is lower than what the typical market value is, it gets really suspicious. Like the gamer chairs, you can find them for also like $100, but the typical price for a gamer chair is like $200. So if there's one at 100, you know that the quality is really diminished. And that's something my friend proved to me because he bought one once and he said that, and he has a high quality one now, and he says that the quality doesn't even compare. The other one feels like it's like it's like you're sitting like almost on not the cushion, but on the material of the chair itself. So it's crazy, you know. So yeah, I don't know. You could probably find cheap chairs. I just want a chair that's gonna be a good chair that's like office style. That maybe it's like ergonomic and it's comfortable, and it's something that I won't have to upgrade ever again. Like something that'll last me years. That's what I really want. But maybe like Kirk said, like things aren't like they were before. Get off my lawn. No, I'm kidding. Daniel, you will definitely hit 10K subs this year. Positivity. I was gonna say possibility. Positivity. We can do this. You can get 10K subs. David, wow, David, 50. Oh my God, thank you so much. Gift towards your helmet or whatever you need. Keep up the good work. David, really, I appreciate that so much. I'm definitely getting that helmet now, for sure. Well, I was gonna get it ready before. Maybe now I can get the chair too. I need to start upgrading the things here, especially because this is gonna be my recording den now. You're gonna see me in my recording dungeon. My room has already been like everything to me. The good thing is that I'm not a person who goes out to spend money, like unless it's to like go out to eat. That's like I think the only thing I spend money on. So if I go out somewhere, like it's just to eat. So I'll be saving money like being in my room because all of the fun that I have is here. I can do my work here. And now I can do even more work because it's going to be my recording dungeon here. I'm wondering how much, I keep asking myself the question, how much is it going to cost to soundproof the room? Because sometimes I get like noise from the outside, like the honking. But I think right now, the first thing I want to do before soundproofing the room is I want to, what do you call that? I want to get good lighting because the lighting has never been good in my room because there's literally only one light bulb, which is up there. That's what lights my whole room. It almost sounded romantic. That's what lights my whole world. Well, my room is kind of my world. It's my little space to be me. So yeah, David, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Everyone who's helped out today, really, I appreciate it because it's all going towards making the situation a little bit more bearable. Like sometimes I don't know if anyone's felt that way in life. There are things that you feel like no matter how hard you try, you can't change and it becomes almost to the point where it's unbearable. But like having moments like not even just the donation, but like the conversations, having a moment where you can do something that you enjoy, like for me, watch an anime, play a game, spend time with my friends, like it's just so healing, so good. It makes life almost like worth it more. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't feel like living, but like there are things that just make it even more worth it than it normally already is. So it's just things that I really appreciate because I've learned to appreciate the things that I have and the things that I get and the things that happen, good or bad, because sometimes even the bad things are just a lesson that teach you to be better. So yeah, still a lot of things that I got to do. So what do you guys think? Okay, I'm actually going to ask that in a poll. What should I upgrade first? So we're going to go with lights, sound, it would be soundproofing, chair. What else do I need here? I think that's it. Those are the three main things that I need. So obviously, aside from the helmet, because the helmet I need to buy because I can't keep putting myself at risk in the streets. Like right now, my brother left, and if I had to leave the house to go do something, I wouldn't even have a helmet to use my motorcycle. Well, unless I use my football helmet, but that's not worth it, I think. A lot of the people, when it comes to YouTube creation, they tell me that the most important thing about YouTube is having good sound. But the good thing is I have a good mic. So I part of me isn't concerned about the sound because I can just make sure I like record at a time. If I record at night, in theory, well, the parties at night are gonna influence the noise, so there's that. But there's a good chance that I'll be able to maintain the audio quality. The chair has been something I've been thinking about for a long time because I'll spend hours here editing, and literally, this is me editing because I edit on my phone, right? So I'm like this, like, and at one point I'm like this. At another point, I'm like almost like this. Like it's just I'm always shifting positions in the chair because when you sit in one position for too long on a chair that's not exactly comfortable, like that certain part of your body becomes like numb. It starts to hurt. So I'm like, So yeah, the comfort has been something that I've been lacking in when it comes to chair. When I finish, like when I'm editing and like the chair is just not doing it for me, I'll lay down on the bed and edit. And then when I just feel like it's too much, I switch up from editing and I just do something else while I relax my mind, and then afterwards go back to editing. Oh man, but yeah, comfort has definitely been a thing that doesn't exactly agree with me all the time when it comes to doing my work here. Another thing that I forgot to mention, I should have put like gear, but I think the only thing in terms of gear that I need is maybe a new computer, because a laptop, so like for the stream, I feel like it's not the highest quality because I'm using a laptop that was a gift, and I don't mind that because it's a used laptop. It's a refurbished one, and I'm never unappreciative like for it. Like I appreciate having it. It's just I know it can't do everything that I want it to do, and that's just a little bit sad, but that's okay because I know there'll be a time when I can. So I'm not as concerned. It's just something that I do think in the long term I need to upgrade. But right now the most important thing is being able to record. So I need these three things fixed. So it looks like chair is going to be first from the votes. Wow, I didn't expect that. Buy yourself a good office chair. You can get really comfortable chair here for around $175. Okay, office chair goes first then. At least from what the vote is telling me right now. I'm gonna look it up because I've seen a lot of chairs, and I wish Instagram would open because I've seen a lot of offers, and I remember I saw a really nice chair on there. Come on, Instagram. Don't do this to me. Dang it. Is it just Noboa's page? Or can I just not open Instagram as a whole? Instagram. Okay, so it's just Noboa's page. Interesting. I'm sure it will be much cheaper in Ecuador. Oh, believe me, I've seen some cheap chairs, and I'm still pretty surprised that they're that cheap. That's why I have doubts. But at the same time, if I doubt everything, I'm never going to get anything. Let me see if I can log on to Instagram over here. I'm going to show you guys because I saved some pages. I see them on Instagram. Some pages that have some nice chairs. No, I don't want to save my login info. Goodness, no. Not now. I'm literally only online temporarily because I don't normally log on to Instagram on the computer. Not something that I typically do. Let me see here. Chairs. Add this to our helmet fund and get a good one. You only get one brain. Thank you so much, Rick. I will. Trust me. I will. In fact, it's 5:39. Can I go now? It's Saturday. No, I don't even have a helmet to go out with. Nope. As soon or as late as Monday, I'll go out and get that helmet. I promise. I said it on stream. I'm saying it now. So hold me to that. By Monday, I will go out and buy a helmet. Let me see here. Can I see the things that I have saved on here? Yes, I can. That was another thing that I was thinking of getting. But no, I'll worry about that some other time. There we go. Okay, so let me show you guys some of the chairs that I had seen on Instagram. So these were the ones I saw, but they're just like the cheaper model of chairs. And obviously these aren't the chairs I'm looking for. I'm looking for one that's a little bit like bigger, like the typical office chairs that are super nice. But they're like, I checked the website, and the website, it doesn't give you reviews, and it doesn't let you check the prices. I remember I had checked this out, and I was kind of like, okay, I like that they have the chairs. I just don't know if what quality the chairs are. Here it says, apparently this place is in Bahia. Let's actually go to their page. So yeah, see, they have a whole bunch of different types of chairs. Although a lot of these look like chairs for like a salon. But I remember the time that I checked it, yeah, see, these are like salon chairs. But the time that I checked it, I saw a chair like this. Or like this one, the Pulse. See, I was thinking of a chair like this. Something similar to this. I don't know if this is exactly what I'm looking for, because I don't know what exactly makes a good chair. Let me see if they actually replied the price. Look, Sia Pulse, $125. That's not bad. What do you guys think? Is this a good chair? Like just from looking at it, or is looking at it like that's another thing. I don't know if just looking at it like you can get a good idea if it's a good chair, but does it look like a good chair? I was thinking a good cushion chair. I've had mine for 3 years and still feels a good cushion chair. 3 years and still feels and looks as good as new. I'm wondering if you mean like the more like not leather, but the ones that look like they're made of leather that are like cushioned on both sides. The only thing I don't like about a chair like that is I feel like it would be really hot, because like right now, because I have the air on, I'm not burning, but most of the times I'd be really, really hot. And like I want a chair that I can be comfortable in and sit for a long time, you know? And I mean, if this chair costs $125, I mean, that's not so bad. But I don't know, is this what a typical good ergonomic chair looks like? Or do you think this looks good? Look at other options. Yes. Nice. So we have hope. Like this one looks good too. I don't know if it's the same chair. Reclinable. From personal experience, office chairs, no matter the price point, last about a year. Either the fabric mesh starts to tear or the hydraulic system goes. I wonder if it dies faster if it's like less quality. That's why I want something durable for sure. I was looking up online, like if you order them from outside the country, like look for the online brands. There's this chair, I don't remember what brand it was from, but it sounded fancy. And it cost like $1,000. And I was like, what? I'm not paying $1,000 for a chair, man. Like I might need a good chair, but not $1,000 chair. Please. I remember there was another place that also had other chair options, but this place has a few options that look pretty decent. So I want to check them out. Either way, it would be a purchase that I would have to make starting next month as soon as I get my first paycheck, which I assume, since I'm working this month, I'm getting paid next month. Even though we started on the 8th, I assume we'd at least get paid for the first, I think about first 3 weeks that we worked. So at least I'll have a little bit of money to be able to spend on something like that. Oh, look. That Madonna chair is pretty expensive, but I wonder what the difference between the Madonna and the Luxor chair are. Because like I feel like the Luxor chair, because of this thing, I like the way it looks better, but the Madonna chair is more expensive. What makes it more expensive? I don't know, a lot of things in regards to chairs. But yeah, let's see. Either way, let's end the poll, which apparently overwhelmingly chair goes first. Um, Definitely gonna get the chair. Then would be the lights, which makes sense because even I want to upgrade these lights for when I record. Get a softbox and see how I set that up. And soundproofing can be last. Then it would be a complete recording studio. I've had my chair for years. It's cloth though. We have chairs at work that are very comfortable, that are mesh, or sometimes which seems like would be cooler for you. I don't see the need for an office chair that reclines. So the reclining feature isn't optional. It's just a comfort thing at that point. Like I feel like I said, like sometimes I'm like editing like this because I'm like the comfort where I'm sitting just isn't the same at some point. So I just feel like it would be a good option to have. So yeah, we'll definitely go for the chairs first, no matter what. So yeah, I think there's not a lot more to talk about. I mean, unless you guys want to keep going shopping with me and checking the stuff out. I was looking at this pair of shoes that I saw that were pretty interesting. That because I need shoes, but that can wait. Obviously, right now I have priorities, and my priorities is making sure that what I do is ready. I need to make sure this room is my studio because I need to have a space to record. Maybe the very high priced ones last longer. I always think that, but I've had less than $100 to over $200. They've all been a bust after a year or so. Carla Banks, what brand chair do you have? Yeah, what brand do you have, Carla? Because I'm pretty curious about that as well. You got to spill the secrets so we can get the chairs. I have no idea because I've had it. Oh, okay, for many years. Well, either way, I'll investigate. I'm sure I'll find a chair that's worth it. I might go around the city first and investigate chairs here in person before I buy one through a site because I want to see if I can sit down on them, feel them out, see if it's like okay. And if I can find one that fits the standard that I feel in my mind would make for a good chair that would last for a long time, I'll just buy it here. But if I don't find anything that I feel is comfortable enough for me to like buy and feel like it's worth it, then I'll just wait until I'll just buy one online. I'll find one that my concern is like since I'm buying it online is what if it's not good? But I kind of have to put up with that risk in order to get what I want. I don't really have much of a choice at that point. So yeah. Um, Nicole Knight, take your time with chair research. It's easy to regret a chair bought online. Yeah, that's my main concern. That's why I'm thinking of one that's like in person. If anyone has any recommendations, like you can show me some recommendations online. Send me an email. Gmail. Send me an email at this email, please. if you have any suggestions for chairs or even just the model of the chair, so that way I can check it out. Send me a picture or a link of the web of Amazon. Like I won't buy it from Amazon because I don't know if that would even be possible. I don't know if they ship chairs to Ecuador, but I can at least get an idea of the model so I can see if I can buy that model over here, or ask around, hey, do you know where I could get a chair that's like this? And start testing out what's going to be my almost permanent chair. Beyond Borders, I need to head out. Adios all, need to cook. Here's a good chair for me. It is a personal choice. If you have any suggestions, send one to me as well so I can check it out. And yeah, I'm also going to head out as well because I think we've been here almost 3 hours. And yeah, almost. I'm pretty sure there's going to be that one comment on the video, on the VOD, that's going to say, your video is too long. I know it is. So yeah. So guys, everyone, I appreciate you taking the time to be here today. I know this last part of the live stream was more of just us hanging out, checking out the chairs, and just talking for a bit. But I hope that in some way you had a good time, that you enjoyed this afternoon that we spent together. And we will see each other as soon as possible. I think the soonest we're going to have the next live stream, speculative time, is going to be April 27th, because that is going to be, like I said, there's going to be 2 days every month that I'm going to try to live stream. The other day that I live streamed with the Mexico crisis was not an official stream. That was just a stream that happened like spontaneously because of the embassy situation. But officially, I'm going to try to have 2 streams every month. Let's see here. Don't forget to like, yes, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Let's try to reach the 10K subscribers that someone had mentioned. I think it was Daniel who had mentioned we're going to get to 10K this year. We're going for it. K&M, good evening. Sorry I'm unable to stay to participate as I am preparing to take my father to the hotel for his flight. Don't even worry about it, Kay. Do what you got to do. And Papicho, I skipped your comment. Did I? Let's see here. Papicho. Do your research before buying. The last comment that I see is the one to do your research, which I am planning on doing heavily because, like I said, I want this chair to last, and I would hate to spend even $100. I know for some people, $100 is a lot. I'm one of those people. But for some people, $100 is not a lot. So I'm like, I know for some people it's not a lot, but I'm really concerned about spending that money and then getting something that I'm going to regret. Like Nicole said, like, it's easy to regret buying that. So, you know, Isabella, good night, Ace. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for being here and being a part of the stream. I appreciate everyone who took the time to be here, to like the video, and share. Take care. And of course, we will see each other soon. Well, I see you got your comments, so I'm really happy about that. Once again, if you have any suggestions of chairs, send me an email. Take care. Have an excellent rest of your day. I'm going to eat right now. Enjoy yourselves. If you're going to eat, buen provecho. And take care. Ace out.